Hey friends, welcome to episode number 62 of It'll Be Fine. I'm here on the balcony just enjoying the last bit of a gorgeous sunset. We're in for a wonderful food chat today with the super funny comic DeeCee. Got to know him through doing some Zoom shows. He's actually based in Singapore, so we're about to head to Singapore and have a chat with him about the food scene there and his impending move back to North America. Interesting timing, buddy. But I'm super excited for this. I'm so glad you are joining us today. And on today's show, we are offering some love, offering some attention to the Toronto Humane Society. So if you can support them today, that would be amazing. Guys, I'm going to enjoy this sunset just before DeeCee and I talk. It's episode 62. It's going to be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Confession to make.
Yeah.
When you sent me the link to say, hey, sign up, or you can join me on IBF.
Yeah.
Immediately in my mind, I started thinking irritable bowel what? Because as a physician, my day job, always thinking like that. So I was racked for a couple of minutes going, what kind of show deals with irritable bowel? Like, what's the F? It's not syndrome. Is it function? Is it, so because that's the frame of mind, if you're not thinking comedy, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot.
Oh my gosh. It's funny you bring that up because an episode we did, I believe it was episode 40, our Father's Day show. The guest who I had on, Dan Rosen, he's a fantastic Toronto comic, but he's got Crohn's, so he deals with that. So he's actually got a show, which I believe he's going to try to tour with in 2021 called Game of Crohn's.
Oh, okay.
Give him a little shout out there.
Yeah, I'm guessing that whatever show that he has, he's going to have multiple breaks for people to go to the bathroom. That's just expected. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we can do that here too. But my bowels, knock on wood, so far so good.
Depending on what we eat. Yes.
Yes. Now, as both someone in the medical world and the comedy world, do you eat before a set, or do you just are you just swelled up?
No, do you know what? I like the habit of keeping my belly empty because it's like any type of activity, anything that requires adrenaline or just alertness. If you have the wrong food, you feel sleepy, and so that's I know that I'm sensitive to food that way. I like to have an empty stomach. The few times that I did have a meal, I thought I had a great time. I enjoyed myself, but I realized that I'm spitting more. Like I had this fleck, like this projectile, kind of like the SeaWorld experience. Yeah. I get charged right now if that happened. That'd be assault.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So no. Just from the advice from other performers, it's good to keep your mouth clear and they say water, lemon. Like what is your routine before you go on stage? Like how long before do you eat before you perform or drink?
I just on occasion, I'll have alcohol before a set, on occasion, but generally it is just water. I am just doing water. If anything, maybe I'll have, I have some here actually, some beef jerky. Okay. I'll pop a thing of that in my belly. But I don't eat until afterwards. Because I find I just get a little too nervous. And then my brain, because I'm someone with anxiety, I start like, oh, am I going to have to go to the bathroom during this? I don't have to go to the bathroom. So I freak out.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, do you ever I know that some people, they need to have something in their hand when they talk, like they, either a beverage or drink. Like, are you a...
I physically can't hold anything when I'm telling jokes except for the mic or the stand because I have something called essential tremor, which is something that the late, great Katharine Hepburn had. And that is why her voice shook when she spoke, because it's a tremor that primarily affects the upper torso, the arms, the head, the neck. So It's very similar to Parkinson's. It's actually more common, even though I hear of it less. And the long and the short is anytime I'm being active, so I'm holding something, that's when you notice the vibration.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I physically can't hold a mic and hold a water. And I tend to cross my arms when I'm doing my stand-up to balance the shaking of my arms.
So you notice it yourself, or do other people point it out?
Sometimes I've been, again, knocking on the wood here. I've been fortunate when I've performed that it hasn't erupted during a set.
Okay.
Maybe 3 times I have noticed more of a vibration and I grab the mic. So I have some kind of like conduit, like something to balance me.
Okay.
I've been trying to think of like, how might I address it? I mean, I just put it in my brain as like, how would I make light of this? Because the general joke with someone who is trembly is, oh, she's great at hand jobs. Like,
Yeah, that's
like that.
that's more functional. That's like switch jobs, right? Get a side hustle.
I do have to ask you, what medical doctor type are you, sir?
Okay, so just to clear the record, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a chiropractor. So depending on what part of the world that you're in, I qualify myself as because my degree, my designation, I'm on the same level as a doctorate doctor, so I have that designation. But over here, in this country where I'm at right now, currently, which is Singapore, they don't know that chiropractors are not just glorified massage therapists, right? So yeah, there's that expectation we have to delineate. That's definitely like, no, this is not a massage. This will fuck you up if you think this is a massage. You don't want me doing what I do for a full hour, right?
Yeah, no.
So we have to just like be very clear in terms of, no, we are doctors. We do, we don't prescribe medication or drugs or surgery, but we also help the body help heal naturally without drugs or surgery. So this had to get to a frame of mindset, because they only think of white lab coat, pills. Then that's the only doctor that only exists in my mind. So just to,
That's fair. Yeah,
I've never had to have this conversation for a long time, because I never really had to qualify myself and say, oh, wait, hold on, I'm a doctor. But for the purposes of those who don't know, think that, oh, yeah, I'm a medical doctor, I see a chiropractor. No, I don't try to profess to be a medical doctor. I don't try to put that banner in, but it's fun being the black sheep of the healthcare field,
For sure.
No pun intended. Carb, the whole noodle pasta thing, that's also more of your Latvian roots. It's like that's the that's in your DNA. But like, okay, what's a potato? What is a carb? Is that correct? Am I off? Am I on?
I would say potatoes are carby. Maybe certain kinds of potatoes are more than other, like a Yukon Gold compared to like a purple potato. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Or sweet potato, of course.
Not a nutritionist. But yeah, it's the funniest thing for me has been I like, my favorite food is toast. I'm not gonna lie. I love some good toast. I adore my toaster back there. And yeah. And I have not been eating that much toast. It's weird. It's my favorite thing, but I've not been doing a lot of bread.
Okay, well, I think under stressful times, our palate can change and our cravings can change. First of all, anytime that you hear toast, you say that, I automatically think of that commercial from years ago.
That great Canadian commercial.
Yeah, great Canadian moments.
Yeah, for friends at home, Google burnt toast, great Canadian heritage moment. You're welcome.
We're aging ourselves here. Now, the dangerous thing is that I'm a carb fiend, right? And my comfort food during lockdown is, because I'm a baker, like I naturally am inherently, that's our social time. That's my social time. I connect through food. I love to cook and love to bake. Now, being a baker under quarantine, horrible idea. I mean, I work in the health field. I work as a chiropractor and I teach about health, about nutrition and stuff like that. But
Yes.
you know, I'm not immune to stress. I'm not immune to loneliness. So my coping mechanism is, all right, let me try this new recipe of cookies I haven't tried before. And cookies for me, like I've seen cookies and cheesecake. I bake cheesecakes. I'm a cheesecake chef, but I don't eat cheesecakes. I don't eat cheese. Well, you ever heard the saying, don't get high off your own supply?
Nope.
I bake the stuff and I sell the stuff that I don't eat because I know full well that if I did eat something that I make something I really like, I'll finish it. So during lockdown, I baked like way too many cookies, way too much pancakes. So just it's comfort food. That's the Canadian pancakes, maple syrup. You're out spending top premium dollar to buy maple syrup here, which is expensive here. But I said, you know what? I need that comfort.
How
So
much
that's
do you
what.
spend on maple syrup over there?
Well, no, actually, once again, we got to qualify. Depending on where you go, if you just say syrup, they create all syrup to be maple syrup. But then, being Canadian, we got to say, no, listen, is it in a bottle? Is it in a plastic bottle? Is it in a,
Or it's in
is
a
it?
can.
Yeah, well, it's pure maple syrup. It's a premium because they have to ship it. But it's my Crevassier of food. Like I only serve that maple syrup to friends I trust and care about. Like if you're not on my good list, fuck it. I'm gonna give you Aunt Jemima, right? God rest her soul, right? Long live Aunt Jemima forever, right?
Yeah, the
We love you, Aunt
pancake
Jemima.
syrup. Yeah,
You,
that
Jemima.
stuff. That stuff is it's corn syrup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's heavy and it's rich, but
yeah.
maple syrup, you deceivingly go, oh, I can use more, and you pour it on your pancakes, and then it just goes. It's like, okay, I need more. So
So
yeah,
good. Or
you
coffee.
can't mimic the taste. Sorry?
Maple syrup and coffee. Beautiful.
Really?
So good. That
Maple
and a
syrup
bit
and
of
coffee.
cinnamon. Mm. Yeah.
I gotta try that now.
Please. Yeah.
Do you need a lot of maple syrup to bring it the flavor? No?
I don't put a lot in. I do like a teaspoon. I just put a little bit in. I like my coffee black. I really don't like anything extra in a coffee. So I'll do a little tablespoon of the maple syrup on occasion, and the cinnamon. Great.
You know what? The
Okay.
cinnamon has multiple benefits, of course. First of all, it's a comfort food,
Yeah.
spice. Because when I eat oatmeal is a porridge. We grow it with porridge, right? That's a comfort food as well. Cinnamon is actually an insulin stabilizer, right? For regulating blood sugar. Okay. So it also helps with metabolism, burning fat.
Yeah.
But now that you talked about cinnamon and maple syrup and coffee, I'm going to try this afterwards. Now you got me thinking, okay, let me just tap into this and see what she's talking about.
Because what time is it for you right now? It's 8:23 in the evening here. What time is it for you?
It's 8:23 in the morning, so it's a perfect 12-hour gap. I'm based. Like it's the flavorings are on point here in Singapore, and it's now changed the game of how I cook, how I season. You know how in Canada, in the West, soy sauce is just one bottle, one type. Like soy sauce, it's black, it's liquid. It's just one shot. There's a full rows of different brands and types and intensities and tastes of soy sauce. It's their version of ketchup. When it's used in the right way, it kicks up meals so amazingly. I underestimated how beautiful soy sauce can be. If you're concerned about MSG, shame on you. All right, let's overlook that right now.
Can I just say, there's a tomato on my dress because I've got fruit on my dress. For those hating on the MSG, tomatoes are full of MSG. It's natural. It's not. Yeah.
If you like Doritos, you got MSG in it. Like if you're eating any type of fast food, don't complain about MSG in the other food. Like it's
a natural. It's also a natural thing. That's another thing to go Google.
Yeah, that's gonna be on my own podcast later on in the future. We'll hold that for the future show. Right. No, my favorite food is oh gosh, there's so many to choose from. But I mean, the things that I'm going to be posting about is I'm going to be doing a video tour before I leave this country. A video tour of my favorite places that I like to introduce people to. So I'm going to be doing this, kind of like a roving camera of my favorite foods. I like to introduce my friends who visit me in Singapore. These are the foods that I like to introduce them to bakwa, which is kind of like beef jerky, but seasoned, sweetened, and hot.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a beef jerky without the effort. It's a jerky that's either made from
Yeah.
pork or chicken or beef. Beef or pork are the best flavors, but it's don't even think about counting calories, right? Don't it's you got to check that out of your mind.
Okay.
Great experience. Bakwa, Bakwa, bakwa. Another thing is a popia. It's kind of like a spring roll that they make, locally made spring roll, vegetarian. Um, I recorded somebody making it, and it's a trip to see how to make it with boiled cabbage, turnips, eggs, nuts, shrimp, like whatever is put into it. The sauce, when it's put together, it just melts in your mouth. It's just a really good experience. You got to use the chopsticks.
Yeah.
So popia, it's kind of like a spring roll, but like a soft skin spring roll. Not a Vietnamese roll, but a soft skin spring roll. That's unique, indigenous to this part of the world, to Malaysia. So understanding that if you see green curry, it doesn't mean that it's mild. It means it's still hot.
Still hot.
Red curry here is bloody hot, right? So green curry is still hot. It's hotter than the green that we have back home.
Yeah.
But if you don't mind spice, it's still enjoyable. But if it's red and it's hot, if it's red, in this part of the world, red means, yeah, shit's gonna go down, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be some bowel stuff.
Yeah, there's gonna be some IB stuff. IBF. There's this one food that was hit me by surprise. It's called mala. It's a spice. It's a very unique Chinese spice, and it's distinct to China. And then where I live in Singapore, it's not Chinese, but it's a huge population of people indigenous to mainland China. And one of the spices they brought is mala. Mala means translate to numb and hot. But if no one tells you about this and you accidentally eat this, when you're eating a food that has mala, you think you're having a stroke. Because I remember eating this kung pao chicken. Yeah. So I went to this one stall. They all look the same. My friend took me to this one stall. Said, "Hey, let's have some chicken." You know, say, "Great." There's like the first couple of weeks I was there, first 2-3 weeks, and I eat this meal. I recognize kung pao chicken. See it, recognize it. I read the label. All right, I recognize that. I'll eat kung pao chicken. Nowhere on the signage of the store says mala, nor do I know what it is. So sit down, I bite into it, and I see these black spices, thinking that it's pepper. We can handle pepper. Bite into it. All right. And then 10 seconds later, I start to feel like, hey, what's going on? All right, what's going on? Because you start to lose feeling in your mouth and going, what's wrong with me? I can't feel in my mouth. Like it's a numbing, it numbs your mouth. Yeah, numbs your taste buds, numbs your tongue, and numbs your mouth. So you don't have any feeling. And it's hot, but you lose feeling. So me, I'm thinking, I'm a medical doctor. This is not normal. Food should not make you go numb, right?
Oh my God.
But apparently it's a spice that's revered for, people like that numb feeling, that numb taste. But I thought I was having a bloody stroke. I'm thinking, I'm drooling. And eventually my friend told me, oh, by the way, where you eating is mala spice. I forgot to tell you, by the way, all right, it's not a stroke. You're sweating. Yeah, it's a cruel joke. I think that Asians play on foreigners, not telling them what mala means, right?
That's awful.
Yeah, it's awful. But it's that taste is distinctly unique to this part of the world. So that's like a bitch slap to the senses. Because when you're eating foods, you don't expect a stroke. You don't expect, well, this is a stroke. Like everything was just melting. It's just a numbing feeling that was happening. And it was numbing and burning. So your brain, if you're not accustomed to eating foods that make you go numb, your brain starts to go in a different direction if that's not part of what you eat. So mala, this is a forewarning for any foreigner who wants to travel or wants to be experimental. Mala means hot and numb, spicy and numb. Here, the palate is so expansive compared to what we have in Canada. Yes, like we're very, I don't know what the word to describe when you have a limited palette of foods and tastes. But compared to the US, and in Canada, here they're just on a whole nother level of textures, tastes, textures.
Yeah.
The amount of so it's very flavorful, and it could be very overpowering for a person who's not a foodie, for a person who's not adventurous. So
definitely. This might be a stupid question, but I'm genuinely curious. Are there any McDonald's where you live?
Yes.
What's the menu of a McDonald's in Singapore?
It's a catch-22 because when you go to a foreign country, all right, I my peeve is friends or expats come over here going, you want to go out for something to eat? Okay, where's nearest McDonald's, KFC? Like, dude, you just crossed 15,000 kilometers to look for a McDonald's? What's wrong with you? Oh, please, right? But
Yeah.
But the recipes of KFC, the recipes for McDonald's are distinctly different for this region because the palates have changed. They tweak the recipes with certain spices, certain things that to Asian to this part of the world. So often, a McChicken sandwich or McChicken spicy, which I've had before, because I said, you know what does McDonald's taste like? Yeah. It's phenomenal. Actually, it's pretty good. It's like, oh my goodness, this is umami. This is umami. This is like they bring different flavors and different combinations that's indigenous to this region, such as I'm not going to use terms that you're going to be familiar with, but people love spice here. So you're going to have things kicked up a notch in terms of spiciness love for KFC or for McDonald's, but it's done in a very tailored way to Asian taste, and it's very flavorful. So yeah, it's fast food here is tastier, not as big, but it's definitely tastier. I can guarantee that for sure. I have many people who can vouch for me. Is that the typical fast food fare, when you have it in this part of the world, you're going to be blown away. You might be converted. So even though I'm not a fast food fan, I do appreciate, like, oh my goodness, this is different.
Yeah. How long have you been in Singapore?
3.5 years, and I'm now ending my stint a bit prematurely because of changes of COVID.
Okay.
So I'm heading back in about a couple of weeks, 2 weeks from now. So by the time this airs, maybe I might be here over there. So it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. I'm returning home to my family because I do have a family in Chicago, and I'm returning home to homeschool. So I'm leaving. The bitter part is, the sweet part is I'm returning to my family, returning to my kids, my wife. I'm going to be their stay-at-home dad and figure out what can I do from home? How can I earn income from home? We need to talk. I got to pick your brain, right?
Yeah.
But the other token is it's bittersweet because I'm leaving Singapore, right? And it's just a country of stuff that works, right? It's just everything's on time, everything's close. There's some civility that's maintained here. People follow the rules to the T, to the fault, actually sometimes, which is going to be confining. But in times like this, sometimes it's great to have a break from noise, from like people being on one side of the spectrum, left side or right side, or red or blue, whatever political spectrum it is. Yeah. Sometimes you just want to be able to filter out the noise and have a civil discourse, civil discussion, and you treat each other civility, with civility.
Yeah.
That's what I miss here. That I'm leaving here to go to the US, which is like the center storm of.
Yeah. No, you're coming back at a fun time. It was like the guys in space who, I love that the guys who recently went up in the Tesla guy, the SpaceX thing. I love that they were named Bob and Doug.
Oh, I know.
As a Canadian and an SCTV fan, I was like, oh, this is great. But there was a part of me that was like, Bud, just stay up there for as long as you can.
They're like, guys, ready to come back? I said, no, we're good, man. I think we got enough food for the next 2 months, man. We're gonna ride this. We're gonna ride this COVID out.
Oh man, but I mean,
thanks, Elon.
You're going back to Chicago. Chicago has a wicked food scene.
Yes, Chicago is. I mean, you think of Chicago and the pizzas. You think Chicago and the Italian deep dish pizza. Their Italian sandwiches.
I just want to interrupt before I forget. There was a spot I went to, and I can't think of the name of the restaurant right now, but I had a sandwich, a bologna sandwich. Simple. If I could marry a food, it would be that sandwich.
Wow. Really?
Oh.
Why so simple? Like, why such a simple thing?
So good. Just fried right. The cheese was right. The brioche bun was right. I would marry that sandwich. Marry that sandwich.
The fact that a food creates that much emotion, like really, like it takes you back. You think of a kid like, oh my goodness, I feel like a child eating a gourmet bologna sandwich that wasn't worth trade worthy.
That bologna sandwich in Chicago, it's at Au Cheval. Go get it and then bring me one or three.
There's if anyone wants to head to my Instagram page, which is of course the Latvian foodie, I have an Insta story saved that a friend of mine, Michelle, took of me eating. There's a spot here in Toronto called Lion Coffee, Lion. It's on St. Clair West. They also have a little booth in there where this woman makes these glorious chocolate bonbons. They are works of art. They are gorgeous. And my friend Michelle and I went to go have a coffee and have some bonbons, as two single ladies do.
Right.
And she filmed me eating them because I was like, this is like eating joy. It was great.
But it attribute like a character to the food. I mean, it's, and now, did you tell this to the proprietor? Did you tell
Oh
this
yeah,
to the owner?
no, she was there making them, and I mean the way I describe things on the show, like we did an episode recently. I can't think of what we made, but I think the term I used was this was like eating a hug.
Wow. Okay, that's you know, when you describe that, people are going to want to say, okay, I want to try this for myself to see exactly if I feel exactly the way
I
that
love
she
food.
feels.
I
Yeah, it
love
sells.
food. So.
Well, see that expression, the way that you express how you love food, and I'm admittedly am a foodie. Like I love food as well. I'm picky, which is horrible because I'm a picky eater and I'm the most horrible person to cook for. But I love food. But I will compliment. I think whoever it is prepares the food, restaurant or whoever the chef or whoever it is that the you know that whoever house that is, you got to compliment the person who's preparing the food, especially when you know that it's made intentionally, uniquely with love. With there's intentionality behind it.
Yeah, you can, hands down, if someone is passionate about what they're making, much like with your cheesecakes, you know, you are infusing that into the food. I don't know how the fuck it happens, but you certainly are. There's a book which also became a movie. I don't know if you read or saw the movie called like Water for Chocolate.
No.
Okay. There's a film version of it, but there's also a book. And I read it when I was younger. I still have it now. And there was this comment in the book of the character being upset while she was making a cake. And there was this comment of, you don't bake when you're sad because that sadness is going to go into the food. And I read that, maybe I was 12 or 13 or something when I read that. That was like etched in the brain. If I'm feeling sad, I don't bake.
Do you know what? Please send me that pilot because I'm going to recommend that book to my daughter, who's now 13, who's an avid reader, and she loves cooking. She loves baking. Yeah. And that's the way that we bond and connect with it. So that's going to bring her to another level of, you know, consciousness, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's an intense love story of a man going between women. But I read it as a teenager, and that passage never left me. I will not bake if I'm not happy because I'm convinced you taste that. I gotta ask, like, when you do leave, what are you gonna miss the most food wise in Singapore? What are you gonna be really down about not having?
I'm going to be really down about just, oh gosh, I feel spoiled with the flavors. I'm going to miss the way they make fried rice here. Like when you go back to the US and say, let's have some Chinese food, I'm not going to be elitist. I'm going to be like, what is this shit? This is not Chinese food, right? You're not Chinese. You're not even Chinese. Like, you know, I'm going to have to kind of check that, you know, I'm going to have to manage my expectations because I'm no longer in Singapore in a foodie world, right?
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to miss, gosh, I'm just going to miss the combination of seasonings, the way they season the food distinctly. But I'm also now challenged to try and duplicate those same flavors at home. Like, can I find those ingredients? Can I try it and duplicate that taste? There are some things that are so simple here. It's called chicken rice. They cook the chicken a certain way. They add soy sauce, and then the rice is cooked in a certain way. But then it's a popular main dish. It's a very boring dish, but it's very main. It's a good starting point for anybody in this part of the world. Yeah. But if it's done right, it can make a big difference. You know, it could sell a lot in US. Like if you create a style, a distinct ethnic style, this is simple recipe, simple foods that if I brought it back, I'm sure it could blow up into something. So I'm excited about that potential of saying, okay, let's see if I can take some from here and create it from here. But I create it in the US. But I am going to miss the spices. I am going to miss the way things are fried. I'm going to miss rice noodles, man, like, you know, just Vietnamese food, the way they cook it here. Just, I'm going to miss the spices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So,
the episode that just aired before yours this week, I shot with a fantastic comic named Corey Kahaney.
right.
She's based out in New York, but she is such a fan of Asian food and spices and tastes. And we
Okay.
made cheap pancakes, her and I. And oh my God, that was so much fun.
Man.
I've never been to Asia myself, but being such a foodie, that's like what you're talking about. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta follow like Anthony Bourdain's travels and go to all those
Hey,
places I saw.
when you see the stalls, when I say when, because this thing is going to pass over, COVID's going to pass over, we're going to be traveling again.
Yeah.
When the doors open up, you have to visit Singapore as a landing point before you get to other Asian countries, because Singapore's first world. It's kind of like Asia Light, right? If you can't handle Singapore, don't even bother going to other countries, right? But you start off there, great food culture, great food tradition. You know, you have Michelin rated restaurants that are $5.
Yeah.
But the Michelin rated because they make their ingredients, they make their food so uniquely good. You see the places where, you know, Gordon Ramsay visited that's like, man, I can't touch this, right? So this is in my backyard, which is bloody awesome, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
so that's gonna be a good launching point before you go to other places. And plus the food is safe. Like what you're eating, you don't have to worry about poisoning, you don't have to worry about, you know, getting sick. Thailand, you can do the street meat thing, but you got to have a pretty good bacteria colony to protect yourself before you do that. And, you know, Malaysia as well too, and Indonesia. So yeah, it's when that doors open up and the gates open up for us to travel, add Singapore to your list. And to anybody who's out there, dude, man, Singapore is the shit. All right.
Yeah.
And for food and a great experience, and it's memorable. Part of my heart is here. I am going to go back, but I do foresee myself in the future somehow having a reason to return for comedy, for the food, and for another reason to lay some